Alright, what's up guys? It's Seth here with Vicrez. Today we're going to go over the fender flares, what you need to do to get them ready to install, and the installation process. So now a couple things you're going to need to get the fender flares ready is of course the fender flares. They also come with some brackets, 2 pieces for the bigger part. These are all labeled individually to mark which ones match up with which. You should be able to snap them on after you figured out which one goes to which. Now there's 2 just separate pieces. You'll have the mounting bracket with all these little slots. These slots will slot into these brackets right here, which hold the clips, the plastic clips that hold the fender flare to your frame of your car. These should just line up with each individual one, like so. And each one has a little clip on it. You'll want to make sure you push it down all the way and seat it properly to the other bracket that's attached to the fender flare. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and install these little plastic clips. They have these little slots in them. You just slide them right in place and they stay there. They're not coming out. There will be a total 7 of clips that you'll need to slot in place, which will clip into place on the front side of the bumper, indicated in these tiny holes here, that those clips will just slot right into. So you're gonna take any type of sandpaper that you have. Usually you use a rougher grit of sandpaper, like 450 or 500, something along the lines of that. Now you're just gonna take it and scuff up the surface a little bit. Make it to where it's visibly marked and scored. That way there's something for the 3M tape to stick to. After you sand it, you can go ahead and clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol and a regular cleaning rag, or if you have any alcohol wipes, go ahead and clean it off with that. So next, we're gonna go ahead and install the 3M tape on the top part of the fender flare. Now, as you guys can see here, there's an extra piece here. This one is completely lined with 3M tape. It also has the bracket, which allows this piece to sit inside of it. And once we have the 3M tape installed on this one and everything's ready, we're gonna go ahead and peel the 3M tape off the fender flare and insert fender flare inside. But before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and install a layer of 3M tape along the edge here for whenever we go ahead and install it to the vehicle. That way we can go ahead and peel this strip of 3M tape and stick it onto the vehicle as we snap in these little rivets here. Before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and add some of this adhesive promoter. Now you just wanna do a light coat all the way around the top edge of the fender flare. That way whenever you go in and install the 3M tape, the promoter will help it stick to the fender flare. Now 3M tape should also be included in your kit. We're just gonna go ahead and do the top edge here. This is that little lip you want to go ahead and follow whenever you're putting your 3M tape down. This will keep your 3M tape from seeping out and showing once you install your fender flares. So you wanna make sure you line your 3M tape with that edge and stay along it. Now the reason we put this top layer of 3M tape here is because it's gonna sit directly on the vehicle, and it's what we're gonna use to make sure the top part is held securely to the vehicle. The clips here, the 7 clips you see here, will line up with these holes and snap right in place. Now this is how it should sit inside the fender flare once you're ready to install. But before we go ahead and install this, we're gonna go ahead and prep the surface of the vehicle and wipe it off with some isopropyl alcohol and a regular microfiber cloth. Take any microfiber cloth or any cleaning cloth of your choice, whatever you prefer using on your vehicle, and just spritz it with a little bit of alcohol, or if you have alcohol wipes, go ahead and use those. Now this will just help to make sure the adhesive sticks and that there's no dust or residue on top of the surface of the vehicle that will make the 3M tape peel off. Because remember guys, we want the 3M tape to stick to the vehicle, not what's on the vehicle. Now once you have the surface prepped, you're gonna go ahead and be ready to install your fender flare. We're gonna go ahead and peel this top layer of protectant off the 3M tape before we install. Now it may be a little bit difficult to get one end of the protective layer up, but we usually just use an X-Acto knife to peel one end up, and then we can go ahead and peel the rest of the protective layer off. Now just like that, you're ready to install your fender flare. Make sure you line it up with the little holes that are on the bumper or the front fender flare, and the little clips that we went ahead and already installed on the fender flare should just snap right in place. Once you hear it snap into place, you know it's secured, and you can go ahead and start working on the top part of the fender flare to make sure the 3M tape is sticking. And this is what it should look like after you've done so. Now we're ready to install the other fender flares. Now we went ahead and put 2 strips along this bracket, which will connect to this piece here and this trim piece here. Now we're gonna go ahead and clean this off and prep it, make sure there's no dust or residue on the surface. Now on this one, there's quite a bit more 3M tape. There's one lining the edge of the bracket, as well as two on the bracket itself, and then one lining the top edge of the fender flare, and then one down here, because that will actually line up with the front side of your front bumper and curve around the edge on the bottom. You'll see that later on in the video. After you have your surface prepped, you wanna go ahead and let it dry. Now, don't let it dry for too long, because then dust and other debris can accumulate on the surface of the vehicle, and you'll have to clean it off again and redo the entire process. Now we have 3 strips along the bracket edge of this fender flare. We're gonna go ahead and peel all 3 of those back at once. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our adhesive promoter to it. Now what the adhesive promoter does, it simply just allows us to install it on without waiting so long for the 3M tape to stick and do its job. Not a necessary step, but if you're wanting to save time, you can go ahead and do so. Now once we have our 3M tape properly coated, we can go ahead and install. Fender flare should just line up. It has this little slot or notch that lines up with the front bumper and slides into place. And after you have it put on, you want to make sure you add some light pressure evenly to each side of the surface to make sure the 3M tape adheres properly to the body panel. And as you guys can see, we just taped it to hold it there until the 3M tape has time to do its job and stick to the body panel properly. This is what it used to look like, plain and barren, barely hanging out. The wheel actually sticks out more than the body panel does. But now we have our wide body fender flares. Our SRT style fender flares really do a job of making the body panel stick out and make it look seamless. Man, does that thing look clean already? Now we're gonna go ahead and get started on the rear fender flares. It's basically the same few steps as the front fenders. Bracket here that slides onto these 3 notches here, and they'll just go over it and snap right into place. And you wanna make sure they're seated correctly on all 3 before you move on to the next step. After that, you're gonna need 3 of these. These are just little plastic clips which hold it into the bumper, as you guys seen before whenever we were installing the front fender flares. With these little grooves, they have a little notch in them. You just slide that notch into the groove and they pop right in place. And it follows the contour of the body. So this one is tilted to the side and these 2 are straight up and down. Now after that, you have your air guard, and then this, all it does is there's 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those slot into these 5 little grooves right here, and that'll hold the air guard in place. These also just snap in place as well. Make sure they're all the way seated, and then we can move on to the next step. You'll also get a little kit like this inside your bumper kit. Now this is all the hardware that you'll need. Remember to look for this whenever you open your box. Now inside, it'll have a couple different clips, rivets, and screws. We'll need 3 of these screws for both of the small pieces for left and right side, and they'll just screw right in place, which will hold that bracket in place, just for that little extra added security. Now you don't have to tighten these down too tight. You are screwing into plastic after all, so there's no need to torque it down or anything. Just get it nice and snug to keep the piece secured. Now it might feel a little bit loose after you screwed everything down, so go ahead and make sure you push everything down one last time to make sure everything's seated correctly. And also another step that we did, just like with the front fender flares, we sanded this top edge, went ahead and added some of our adhesive promoter, which will help the 3M tape stick to the plastic. That's what also sanding does. It'll help give it a little bit more of a scuffed up surface for the 3M tape to grip to. And after you're done with all these steps, you're pretty much ready to go ahead and install the fender flare on the side of your car. Now we're gonna go ahead and get started on the rear fender flares. And as you guys can see, we've already started a little bit by installing the 2 black panels, as you can see there. Now they're the same setup as the front fender flares, which we've already done. And then next we're gonna go ahead and move on to the upper part of the fender flares. Now we went ahead and started cleaning them off. That way we can go ahead and add this layer of 3M tape you see him applying here. Now that bottom bracket there is there for you to allow it to stick to the inside panel. Now that bracket is just held on by 3 little plastic rivets, as you guys can see there, and it should just slide and pop right in place. And then you can go ahead and start laying down your 3M tape. Now guys, he's just gonna heat it up a little bit, which will help it stick to the body panel of the car better. Once you have everything ready, you're ready to install. And all you have to do is apply it correctly and apply even pressure onto the body panel to get good adhesion. Just make sure, if it's not lined up correctly, not to apply firm pressure to the body, because then the 3M tape will start to adhere to the body panel. Now, once you have it on the car, we're gonna go ahead and use some of these C-clamps to go ahead and apply pressure to the body panel. We also put 2 more, one at the bottom and one at the very bottom, to hold the curvature onto the bumper. Now, this isn't a necessary step, but you can do it to make sure it stays in place and gets good adhesion. Now guys, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the smaller upper fender flare. Now we went ahead and applied a layer of adhesive promotion, and we're gonna go ahead and put a layer of 3M tape down. That way, whenever we apply the fender flare to the car, it has the most possible surface area to stick to the panel. Now we're gonna go ahead and wipe down the panel with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just a simple rag. Now you wanna make sure you line it up correctly before you push firmly to make the 3M tape stick. You may have to open and close the door a couple times to check the body panel and the fitment to make sure it lines up with the other one. And then once you have the fit where you like it, you can go ahead and press firmly or use C-clamps to secure the fender flare onto the body panel, like we've done so here. Now we're gonna leave these C-clamps on overnight. That way it has a full 8 hours to go ahead and make sure the 3M tape is properly stuck to the body panel.